Welcome, everybody. Hopefully, this will be going up live now. I think we should be live for the very first Deep Thoughts Think Codes live. Uh, and I think we should be good to go. So, I'm going to start getting together. I just wanted to kind of go. I figured this might be something nice, a little change in how we usually do it. I don't usually have the ability to interact with you guys, which is nice with this. It's also something a little bit different considering everything that's going on, and you know, hopefully give me some things to talk about, talking with you guys, answering questions, and things like that. So I am going to be working on my models from the models from what you call it, Blackstone Fortress. So I've been working on them. I've got them all built now, and I've started painting on the characters. I can see this one. Hopefully, this will. You can see this guy here. I was pretty happy how he turned out. Basically, what I did was I used spaceship exterior, painted the whole thing in that essentially. Then I painted the metal parts, and I used I think it was scab, something scab. Let me take a look at it. Crusted Sore. Sorry, my bad. Crusted Sore from Army Painter, which allowed me to give the darker red, so like the back and then the chest piece and his arm. I did in that, and then what I did was I washed the whole thing in red tone from Army Painter, and then went back in and painted over white back over most of the panels there, but leaving a little hint of the red underneath and in the recesses especially. And I think it turned out pretty good. I was really happy how he turned out. I also have been painting this guy here, which is the Ministoran priest guy. He came out pretty good. Again, I started with the robes with spaceship exterior, and then washed that one with, I think, was the soft tone or the light tone, one of the tones. I washed him and got his robes to be like that. So pretty excited how they're turning out so far. Those are the only two I've gotten done. I haven't done the bases for them. But today I'm going to be working on the both the navigator and also the rogue trader himself. So it should be fun to be able to work with these guys. But yeah, hey guys, I see people are starting to come in, which is awesome. Thank you very much, Joseph, for the complimenting the paint scheme. Good morning, everybody. From Malaysia, Alif, nice to see you. I guess I don't see you. You see me. Tim, Tim Mercer, Twigbeard, everybody. Thank you very much for coming in and saying hi. Really, really appreciate it. So yeah, like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing today is just working on this and just kind of talking. So, I've been doing my best to try to keep up my hobby initiative with everything that's been going on, and some days are better than others. So some days, I'll finish like an entire model or multiple models if I'm doing a squad. These guys being characters, they take a little bit longer, so that's why I kind of work and I kind of choose two characters that kind of have a major paint theme that works together with each other. Working on them, and so this one I'm going to be doing some purple on his robes, and I'll probably do some purple on his suit as well. And kind of go with that. So I'm doing the alien purple from Army Painter, which should be pretty good to be able to work with. But yeah, I want to know how. Let me know in the chat though what you guys have been up to. I know it's I'm a little frustrated like everyone that I haven't been able to play games. I know Grindal saying missing my battle reports. Man, I miss filming them. I miss playing, and it's been hard to not do that when I'm used to playing multiple games a week, and now to go, let alone the tournaments that I would go to and everything like that. So to find myself now not having played in weeks has been tough. It's been tough, and like I said, certain days I'm able to focus on something new like Blackstone Fortress, or putting together all those different kill teams that I have. I'm going to be coming out of this quarantine with a couple extra kill teams, which is kind of interesting and fun, and just kind of going at it and just get at the work and make it happen. And then there are other days when I'm just like I can't, because I'm sitting there wishing that I could be playing instead of sitting at home not being able to play. And I know you guys miss my videos. I miss putting them out there, and I miss being able to do that. But the thing that I just keep telling myself is that what we're doing is the right thing to keep everyone safe and sound. Because at the end of the day, if I could, if I went out and played a game and at the end of it I wasn't able to, but at the end of the day, me doing so put someone at risk. It's not worth it at that point. I'd rather everyone that can come out of this thing safe and sound, and then we can all get back to playing. And we will play. We will play a lot. So very cool. Hi, Nancy. Todd, nice to see you or listen to you. I see your texts. Keep the trolling to a minimum. So cool. Everyone's talking about painting my Marines. Joseph Sensual have been painting my Marines. But yeah, keep at it, man. Work at them, and eventually after the end of this, you'll have something to go back to the tables with, which is exciting, and being able to do that. So. The one thing that I have noticed is I haven't been able to make a list because the idea of making a list for a game that is a long ways off is hard for me to process sometimes without being able to practice it, without being able to actually do it. So basically, what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of painting the things that I want to. I'm painting the Blackstone Fortress stuff now because I'm going to be able to. I'm going to try to play the game myself and do some videos with that. But I've also been trying to paint just what interests me. What looks cool. I'm thinking that once I get these guys painted, I think the next thing on my painting table is probably going to be the models from Rogue Trader, the Rogue Trader, the actual Rogue Traders. So the Rogue Trader plus the retinue and all that, because they were cool models, and they've got the goodest boy in the grim dark future there with them. So I've been excited about working on that. And hopefully get them in, and they look cool. They're really cool models. They look fun. They look about as detailed and interesting to do as these guys. So that's kind of interesting and fun. Plus, it'll be another kill team. So I'll come out of this with like 1,000 new kill teams to play with, which is kind of cool and exciting. But just having some new stuff, and that's kind of what I've found myself the most success doing. Telling myself that I need to paint something. For an unknown reason doesn't super help, but following with where my tastes are at the time has certainly helped. So painting cool models that look cool, painting things that I've always wanted to paint but never got around to because I had other things I had to do, models to paint for a list, or models to paint for a battle report, models to paint for a tournament. Those always took precedence over just painting for the things that I liked, the things that I wanted to paint. So now getting into this and being able to just paint what I want, because there are no tournaments coming up. There are no games coming up. There's no list that I need to paint for. All it is just painting for what I want to paint for. And that's been fun. That's been cool. That's why I got the Mechanicus finally. I got those Mechanicus came in the Kill Team. I think, yeah, some of them came from the Kill Team starter set. So basically when the new Kill Team first came out, I've had them sitting in a box since then. And then I got the Doom, the Forge Bane box set. So I had a bunch of them just sitting around doing, nothing, just sitting there. So now I got the chance to because I'm not actually painting for a specific list, painting for a specific reason, I was able to just get into it and actually paint for what I wanted to do, get back into the backlog, painting a lot of things that I've been meaning to do and just haven't done. So that's been a nice thing to do about it. So sure, I'm fighting the fighting the need to paint, but at the same time, being able to get in there and do that has been fun and left me with some really cool painted models. So I'm excited about that. White Wolf building some aggressors. Aggressors are fun, man. I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with those. The amount of bullets that they can pop out is super cool, and it's super impressive too. And it's weird. Sometimes they can be super OP depending upon how they play out. But at other times, it's like they're bullet sponges. They're gonna get shot right off the bat, and it's very hard to hide them because they're so slow moving that you kind of have to keep them out front and keep them moving to get them into range for what you want to do. So with that, with them being out there, they absorb a lot of that first turn firing, and very often don't end up getting to shoot a whole lot, which I think is a fair way to balance them out with that, because if half the games you don't get to shoot them, and the other half you get to unleash a withering storm of bullets. I think it's a pretty good pairing there, you know. And and then there's some matchups where they're not ideal, like they're great against like things like Gene Stealer, Colt, Tyranids, a lot of the guard things like that, where there's a lot of low toughness, high model count models. They do really good against that because I mean they're there's a whole lot of bullets that they're putting out. They're just not super strong, and they're not super. They don't have a lot of AP. So when they shoot at them, they rely on the number of shots, and the less toughness there are and the less their armor is, the easier it is for those things to start to build up. But at the same time, it's real fun when you just unleash an entire squad of aggressors into a knight and just plick and plink and hope for sixes to wound, and it happens. They come and they're there, unless you're me. But they eventually come, and then they have to make the saves for this thing that you just put so many shots out there that it can get pretty brutal, which is fun. But yeah, and they also look super cool. I mean, the idea of these things just like trudging across, like fire flying off of them. There was a cool. They talked about them. They had described them in the new Imperial Fists book. Which one was that? What's it called again? Oh man. Oh, Fist of the Imperium. And it's about the Imperial Fists, and they're fighting against Gene Stealer cult, and they describe the aggressors and their actions, and it's just kind of cool that they're just like trudging along in front, just like shots plinging off of them, and just being badasses as they're just like flinging their shots out there. And I kind of imagine that too when I'm playing with them on the tabletop, as they're just kind of trudging across the board shooting. So yeah, I'm a big fan of them. And the way I painted mine up, which is kind of interesting and fun, because I've got the Death Watch army and I've got the Dark Angels army. I painted them with the one silver arm, and the rest is Dark Angels. So the way I work it out in my head canon is either they're veterans that have been seconded to the Death Watch and have come back to the chapter, or they're newly sent to the Death Watch and they just haven't been able to paint the rest of their armor. They had to get sent out too quick. So I get to play with them with both, which I think is fun to be able to do that. So very cool. Nick Powell slowly painting with the kids asleep and not working, and an essential worker. So be safe out there, man. And I'm really, I think we all really appreciate everyone who's actually has to be out there and keep us going. We really appreciate what you do to keep us going, and just make sure you're safe. But yeah, it's good taking the time to be able to do it when you can. That's one of the things, I think Uncle Adam talked about this in one of his videos, where a lot of people are out still working, but when we come home now, there's not as much pull on our time as there used to be. So while we might be out, while usually when you would come home, maybe you would go out to hang out with friends or do whatever, or have a different engagement, like a party they have to go to or anything like that. Those things aren't there anymore, and that's why it's nice to have the hobby that we do, to be able to fill in that space to keep us going and keep us entertained, which is nice. And that's part of the struggle, is trying to find that in finding that desire to keep doing, because there's a lot of our hobby that's also very much a social. There's a lot of social aspects to it, and finding ways to make it social. But that's why I wanted to do the live stream, to try to keep it a little bit social and a little bit more interaction that we could have, because you got to find it where you can. So whether you're having a Zoom meeting with your friends, or whether you're having a whatever it is, finding that way to be social and keep going is good. And having a hobby like we do, to be able to paint, and those times when you can't necessarily just get out, it's nice to be able to have that and keep it going, which is nice. So, but yeah, so Nick, good on you, and be safe out there. Appreciate it. Saber, the great pile is gone. Oh no. Did sound like GW is opening up their web store right now. I know there are some places that they aren't shipping to. So if you're in one of those places that they are shipping to, hopefully they'll be able to open up. You can get some stuff. Otherwise, hopefully there'll be places open soon enough that you can get some projects to work on, which I think would be good. We can get back to the process that we have and build up our gray piles. So, Trosty 99, you've been working on the Triumph of St. Catherine. That model, it is such a great model. It looks super cool. I mean, I don't know how it plays on the table. I haven't tried it out. I haven't actually seen it on the table. But man, that model looks awesome. I like all of the new, like almost diorama type models that they've been going on with, that they've been building. It kind of harkens a bit more to the character series that they've been doing with Horse Heresy, that like you have like the new lion model that's coming out, looks awesome, and he's there slaughtering a bunch of night lords, which is super cool. And sure enough, yeah, it doesn't actually take part in the actual game you're playing with it, but it looks awesome, and I like that concept, and I like having these models that just look rad on the table and doing their thing. So yeah, I'm not sure how the Triumph St. Catherine plays, but it looks fantastic. So yeah, that's awesome. Keep at it. Yeah, White Wolf watching through the Glacial Geek archives. Yeah, there's a few back there. I don't recommend going too far back because the other week I checked out my first battle report and I was like, oof, man, that was that was rough. I've gotten a little bit better since then, so hopefully going back into the archives, you don't go too far back. Yeah. Twigbeard, been relocating my hobby area to one end of the basement to the other. I'm trying to get this. This is Zephyrim and Warhammer's Underworlds models. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I mean, I love Warhammer Underworlds. It's a ton of fun to play it. I had a hard time. I always have a hard time keeping with very competitive games like that, like Magic. I played that way back in the day, like way back in the day when it was first kind of becoming a thing. And before anyone asked, I did lose those cards. They ended up somewhere in my parents' house and then eventually just disappeared. But trying to keep up with that kind of like card building and deck building and keeping up with that kind of system, I always have trouble with that, which is why I like the wargaming stuff with the models, because it's for whatever reason I have a easier time comprehending that kind of strategy as opposed to deck building. So, but yeah, it's a ton of fun, and the models are always super cool. I painted up which ones have I painted? I painted up both of the dwarf ones. So the 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 red bearded ones, and then the steampunk dwarves. Both of those, and they were fun kits to build together. So. I mean, a lot of the AOS stuff is kind of cool, and I would love to get into it. I just don't really think I can. I just don't have the ability, because I guess now I would have time. But back when I get into things again, filming, like almost every single game I play is for the channel. So filming battle reports, or playing at tournaments. So to try to bring in a new system and try to bring it up, because I could go out and buy a 2,000 point AOS army, but then that would be good for one battle report, and that's not good for me to be able to keep up going with that. So, but the models look super fantastic. I mean, there's tons of armies in there that look great, but and the Zephyrim, the sisters ones, they look super cool. I like them, jump packing badasses. Yep. So new kill teams are great. I definitely like that. Um, oh yeah, White Wolf, the Flamer Boys. Yeah, I've really been super interested in them, and I think with the ability to give the extra range, I mean, at first my thoughts were they would be great with the Dark Angels with the Devastator Doctrine, because they get the plus 3 inches to the range, and now all of a sudden they got 11-inch range on those flamers. It makes a big difference. But I think you can do that with the regular make your own chapters, give them some extra range, and if you have extra range on those flamers, on those aggressors, they could be really brutal. Just pumping out tons and tons of shots, which is pretty fantastic. And auto hitting is always nice. Let's see, Zuper65. Thank you, Mr. Geek. You're a legend. I'm glad to keep. It helps you guys keep going. That's kind of what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to put out videos, trying to put in, and it's tough. It's tough. I sit back and I know that that people want to see battle reports, and I mean, I want to put out battle reports. But I've been trying some new things. So I had, like the book review one that I did, and the top five that I did. I've got some other ideas for top fives that I might be trying to work on, but it's a lot of work to put them out and put them all together. So I'm glad that that it helps people keep going, because I mean, I've looked to other people as well to try to keep me going. So if I can do that to help someone else and pass it down, and they can do it to help someone else, then that's the best way to go about it. So Um, Good afternoon, Ian. Good to read you. So yeah, Ian is actually he does a lot of work with the Dark Artisan on their YouTube channel. Go check them out. His stuff is unbelievable. He's got a beautiful Krieg army. He's got some beautiful Dark Angels. He's got, I mean, everything he does is beautiful. But he also was just showing off on the Glacial Geek Discord from through the Patreon. He was showing off his newly painted uh, oh man, Raptor. What's the one? The Flyer. The Flyer. My brain just went completely blank right now. The awesome Forge World one. He put these awesome like growths on it and like horns, and it looks badass. It's an amazing Nurglified flyer that just looks super incredible. I mean, all his work is incredible, but this one just was. I mean, it was awesome. And you can tell there was a lot of work that went into it, but it was much well paid off. It was fantastic work there, man. So congratulations on that. That looks amazing. Glad you could catch me live as well, Volzen. I'm glad too. Hey, Shaka, nice to read you. Hopefully, when this is all over, we'll get together. We'll do another battle report. So get some of your Tyranids ready to face off against my stuff. Hopefully we can do that. That'd be great. Fire Raptor. Yes, thank you, Joseph. Fire Raptor was the word I was looking for. I kept wanting to say Sky Raptor, and I'm like, nope, that's not it. That Sky Raptor was not clicking. Fire Raptor. Thank you, Joseph. um, so yeah. Bolzen, I want to ask. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely, Volzen. Yeah, just message me on the Facebook. That's the easiest way to do it, through Facebook. Just message me there, or you can email me at theglacialgeek@gmail.com. And either which way, we can set up once everything's all settled down and once everything's cleared up and we're back to gaming and everything. Absolutely, I would love to come on down. So if anyone out there, once this thing is all settled out, if you want to come on down, I'd be more than happy to get a battle report in with you, and we'll figure out a schedule that works. It could be during the week. It could be, we can figure out whatever works and make it happen, and get in some games. It would be awesome. So like I said, the only requirement is that they are painted. They don't have to be Golden Demon painted. They just got to be painted. No gray hordes on the Glacial Geek. I like to keep the stuff painted. It's just my personal preference. But yeah, other than that, you don't have to be the best gamer. You don't have to be competitive, or you can be competitive. Just let me know ahead of time and tell me that you've got this tournament list that you're ready to show to the world, and I will try to do my best to make a competitive list as well. Man, I was keen on this really cool Dark Angels list that's been performing very well in competition. So hopefully, when this all goes over and I can get back to going to tournaments, I can get that back on the table and really hone it in, because it was doing pretty well, and I'm looking forward to trying to get back at it again. White Wolf says that he managed to get his order in this morning, which is good. Yeah, I would imagine that they probably had a lot of volume going through their website. And I know that they're trying to get through a lot of the backlog that they had, that ones were sitting there. So it's good to have it. I think it'll be good to see it. They'll get through it and they'll get back into it. So hopefully this is a sign that things will start flowing back into things, which would be great. Yeah, Volzen after it's over. On the new Cesarus model oh my god, Saber, that model looks fantastic. Again, along with the same thing I was saying earlier, where I'm a big fan of a lot of these models that are almost like a diorama in and of themselves. That model, like sucking out the soul, the essence of that guy, is just fantastic. Looks super cool. And I think it's kind of cool that he's like an upsize model. I mean, it looks like he's going to be an upsize model to be kind of a badass centerpiece for Necron armies. I think he's going to be super cool. I mean, I don't know what the rules are, and honestly, I don't usually care when it comes to the new models. If the model looks cool, that's more of an interest to me, and that's going to more direct me whether I'm going to buy it or not. If I think a model looks cool, I'll probably get it real quick, and if I think it's not, I'm probably going to take my time in getting it until eventually I decide I need it for a list. That's usually why things end up staying where they are, is I'll buy it, so I'll get it, and then I'll put it on the shelf until I can eventually get around to building it, which is, I mean, like I said, which is kind of where I've been going with a lot of this stuff here, is building and painting the things that I thought were cool. So yeah, I think the model looks fantastic. I think it's super cool, and I think it's kind of cool to see a cool I think it'd be cool to see like a centerpiece model in Necron armies, and I think they could use it. You know, I think the Necron armies could use a centerpiece, which is pretty cool. So I think it's gonna be fun to see that once it's out there, built and painted out on the table, plain. I think it'll be cool to see it. So, oh, thanks, Corlick. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been trying to put it out. Keep things going and keep things. I know I've been sharing my the struggles there a bit of what I have, but also trying to keep it a little bit more positive and show that I'm trying to keep forward with it and keep you guys entertained as well. And I mean, you guys saying things like that, so thank you very much for thanking me, because I mean, sometimes it's hard like to keep going without and that's kind of a lot of it too, is like when we would do these projects and we would do this hobbying, we would do it for a purpose. We'd do it for a list, we'd do it for a game, we'd do it for a tournament, whatever it is that we were doing it for. And a lot of those feedbacks have been cut short, have been cut out. So having this, and I know it's a simple thing, but it's nice to be thanked. So thank you, I appreciate that. I don't do it for the thanks, but at the same time, it's nice to have it because it helps motivate me to keep it going. So I'm glad to be able to do that. Um, yeah, the Air Force Air Force Joe. I also like running flyers. Flyers are fun. When I play my Gene Stealer cult, I'm not a huge fan of them. Can't really cut them with my saws, but otherwise, yeah, I like to run them. I've got a few flyers. I've got the two Dark Angels ones, and I've got one of the Corvus Black Stars. So they're fun. They're just kind of cool to have a model just like sticking up in the air that you get to move around the table. So it's kind of cool. And now maybe with the Adeptus Mechanica stuff, maybe I'll get some of those the Archaeopteryx. Is that what I think they're called? The new flyers that they've got going on. I think that would be kind of fun to have some of those. Maybe, who knows? Because I've got enough of the troop units to build like 3 troop units, and I've got some HQs, and I've got Call because I bought the Gathering Storm boxes back when those came out. So I've got them sitting there that I could put together like a bare minimum stuff just to be able to buy and build some of those cool new models that they've got coming out at some point. So we'll see how they all go. Yeah, the Nurglified, what, Reaver Titan. I think that White Wolf was talking about how there's an amazing Reaver Titan that's been Nurglified at Warhammer World, and I think Ian has Nurglified his Titan as well. Yeah, but like you said, working with that much resin makes me nervous. It makes me nervous too. Working with a little bit of resin makes me nervous. So to see him being able to do that is kind of cool. But along those lines, I actually bought, and it's on its way. It's shipping in. But I bought a bust. It's not a Warhammer one. It's just like a regular model, because I was like, I want to try painting something that's not a tiny little model. So it's like a 1/10 bust. So I think it's probably going to be about like the size of like probably like a bobblehead or something like that. But I think it would be cool. I'm excited to try it. I think it's resin, and it'll be interesting to try to paint and build something that's not 24 millimeter sized. So it'll be cool to be able to get into that. So that'll be fun. I think that'll be exciting to be able to do something like that, something a little different. Again, it was like I was saying, try to find those things that challenge you, that do something different, that keep you from getting caught up in in missing out on what's going on. You make yourself excited about something. So that's what the hope is to do with that. But yeah, working with resin always makes me nervous, and I see the stuff that he does, and I'm like, whew, man, there's no way I would do that or be able to. Maybe I say no way. Maybe someday I'll be able to do that, but certainly not right now. That gives me too much anxiety thinking about it. Terracotta for the Lion, my brother. Indeed, I still hold that hope. Maybe someday we'll get a 40K model. I mean, now that we've got the 30K model, maybe that will enthuse them to make a 40K version of it and just wake them up. Just stop hitting the snooze button. Wake up. Just get out. Yeah, I'm trying to keep upbeat, Volzin. Hard to find the motivation, but I'm certainly trying. I'm glad it helps. I think, like I said, I think we can all help each other. So, like I said, you're helping me be motivated. So if I can help you, and we can just, get like a feedback loop of that, maybe that'll keep us going until we can get through this. So, yeah, I think it'd be cool. Twigbeard, what are you most excited about from PA that hasn't hit stores yet? I'm quite excited. The Engine War editions from AdMech and Sisters Inquisition stuff and Pry. Yeah, me too. Honestly, I'm excited to see it for my knights. I'm kind of interested in seeing what they're going to be doing for them. My Death Watch got the White Dwarf working, and I get it. I understand it. I know that there's a lot that they probably had to do, but at the same time, it was a little disappointing to be a Death Watch player and only get the bare minimum to make them essentially a current Space Marine force, but nothing special about them. So I think they have a lot that make them special, make them good, but that was kind of a little disappointing. But I am very excited and very much looking forward to Um, Engine War, because I think the night stuff is going to be exciting to be able to do them. And now that I've got a little bit of AdMech, maybe something from them would be interesting to see. And then I'm very interested in Inquisition stuff. I'm that new Inquisitor model that they've got looks fantastic. And I think a lot of the models from from the Blackstone Fortress and also from Rogue Trader would work really well for Inquisitorial acolytes and things like that. And I've got all those models that I painted up. What are they called? The Militarum Tempestus stuff that I painted up. They make for excellent Inquisitorial acolytes to flesh it out. So I think that'll be exciting too. I'm very much looking forward to that. I've been very pleased with all of the rules that they've been coming out with. I think they've kept things from getting super overpowered, but at the same time trying to keep things building and make them a lot of fun. And they've been very open and very entertaining with a lot of it. So I think it'd be cool to see all of this keep building the way they have. And I think they've done a really good job of keeping things from getting overpowered and making sure that they stay that they stay within realms of each other. And I think they've been doing a really great job, which is fantastic. So very excited about that. Phil, are you related to Eric the Red? Not that I know of. This is from Io Alto. Not that I know of. I know I've got the red. I know if I was a pirate, I would be Redbeard, and I know that if I was a Viking, I would be the Red, whatever it is. Phil the Red. But I don't know. Maybe. My dad's from England, so there were a whole lot of Vikings down there for a long time. So maybe that's where it comes from. Maybe at some point down the line, I was Eric the Red. But I also noticed. But you also asked what are my thoughts on the Lion, the Wolf stratagem. I think it's super cool, and I've used it. I think I've used it maybe once or twice, and I did it in a kind of not in a way that it was meant to be. I think because I was playing as Dark Angels and my opponent was playing as Space Wolves, and what we did was we just had like an honor duel in the beginning and used the stratagem to give each other like the buffs from the honor duel, which I think was fun. I know you're supposed to use it together, and I think that the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels work very well together. Dark Angels do shooting very well, and Space Wolves do punching very well. And I think pairing them off there, I've always thought that an Angels force, so Dark Angels and Blood Angels, that's kind of the route I took with them. Adding in a little bit of melee to my shooty heavy army was always super helpful. And I think that working them back and forth and then using that stratagem to help boost even more is even better. I think that's pretty great. Andrew R saying do it, thinking about AdMech too. Yeah, AdMech are super fun. The models are pretty fiddly to build when you're used to building Space Marines, trying to handle like the little twig legs that these guys all have and whatnot, and like they're the little things that are shooting off of them. They're a little bit they're a lot to build, but I think that they are super cool. I mean, they always look super cool. I have a friend Damien who I think you've seen his stuff on the channel. His AdMech stuff is just beautiful, fantastic, looks great. I've always thought that AdMech armies just look fantastic, and I think it'd be great to build them and build it up because I love the aesthetic of them and I love the models, and I think they're a fun army to be able to play with, and I think they play in a way that my other armies don't. I've got Marines handled very handily. I've got my Gene Stealer cult to give me those hordes, and I've got the Astra Militarum as well for hordes on the hordes and tanks. I guess hordes and tanks with them, and I think that the AdMech kind of fit an interesting point where they're kind of this like middle ground where they're elite but not as elite as the Space Marines, and a little bit hordy but not as hordy as the Astra Militarum, and they've got all those really cool weapons that work really well. So it's interesting to see them. So I'd be excited to try to expand into them. I think that's kind of the way I do it. That's why I've got a lot of Imperium stuff. Is that it makes it easy because I can put together a detachment easy enough to be able to play with them without having to go through an entire army to be able to play with them. So being able to do those allies now really helps with expanding your army, which I think is probably part of the thought process behind why they did that. The Stormhawk, yeah, the Stormhawk looks super cool. I mean, it does look super cool. I had what was it? The one I think it was the Storm Eagle, the giant one. A guy up in Atlanta and Thomasburg had one of those, and he brought it to one of the Warzone Atlantis that I went to, and it was just this huge model that just like super cool looking, super cool looking, and he had it like professionally painted, and it was beautiful, and oh, awesome stuff. I think the flyers just can be super awesome, which is great. So. You've done the Astraeus and the White Wolf Astraeus and the Porphyrion. Yeah, I think that a knight might be about as far as I would feel myself willing to work with. So I think that I would be happy with maybe that size. I've been sticking with more of the smaller stuff. I like the plastic knights. Those are fun to put together and build, and they look super cool. I mean, idea of these big stompy robots. And the idea of a big giant Titan would be beautiful and awesome to have. I don't really have an awesome place to display it in my current location, so but if I did, that would definitely be an awesome thing to have. So I think they always look cool. Big giant pieces of resin always look rad. So, but yeah, yeah, I know Twigbeard adding the Vanguard into the Death Watch would have been nice. I don't know why they didn't do it. I don't know if they're going to or what the story is. I think that I don't know. It's a weird decision not to add them in. I don't know if they just didn't add them in because they didn't want to add them in the White Wolf, maybe in the White Wolf, the White Dwarf, or whatnot. I don't know. But yeah, it would have been fun to have some of those. The Vanguard, Primaris Marines are super cool, like the snipers and things like that. And I mean, the snipers seem like something that you would definitely have in you know in a Death Watch team. Like that seems like a clear winner for them. But I don't know. Whatever they did what they did, I guess. Um, yeah, the White Wolf. We were just talking about that. Yeah, they didn't quite make out as good. They didn't really get any specialty stratagems. They did get doctrines, but they only got the base doctrines. They didn't get special doctrine. They didn't get a special litany. They did get litanies, but they didn't get special litanies. I don't think they have like another chapter trait. Like things, they're basically the same as they've always been, but they now have doctrines, and which is nice, I guess, because now you're wounding on twos with your bolters and having an extra AP on that without having to do that special issue ammunition. So because it does stack with special issue ammunition. So even if you want to add up, you can get, I guess, plus. Technically, you can get plus AP -3 on your bolters if you do the special issue ammunition and it's assault doctrine there, or not assault doctrine, and it's tactical doctrine. You could have AP -3 bolters, which is pretty nice, but yeah, it's just a little less than the other Marines got. So yeah, a little disappointing in that case, but it is what it is. We play them. They're not. I mean, I feel less bad for me than for others because I play them more as a fun thing because I always just thought they looked cool and they're fun to have. But I know some people play them more competitively, and that becomes hard to take when that kind of stuff happens. Volzin just signed up for your Patreon. Fast Tech Choice level. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. The Patreon, people who do the Patreon, it helps. It definitely helps support what it is that I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to build this up and trying to keep going. And it's super helpful because the money that comes in from YouTube. I don't usually like to talk about it much, but the money that comes into YouTube is not great. I mean, you can hear any number of YouTubers talk about that. It's just the reality. So the people who do the Patreon to help support me do what I do is super helpful because there's a lot of effort, a lot of work, and a lot of money and time that goes into keeping the channel going. So I really appreciate it. Putting your hard-earned dollars towards me helps support me doing what I'm doing. So I very much appreciate that. So thank you very much, Volzen, and everyone else who does the Patreon. So, and if you guys want to do a Patreon, there's a link in the description below. I've been trying to get better at doing the self-promotion. I'm really bad at self-promotion. There's also a link to T-shirts if you want down the link below. But yeah, I'm bad at self-promotion. I know that's like part of what you have to do if you want to really make this thing is get people to watch it and keep supporting what you're doing, but I'm getting better. So thank you for helping me get better by giving me the prompt. Sam Little, thought about doing any Sisters battles? I have. I mean, the models that I painted for that kill team were awesome. They were super fun to build and paint, and I think they look super cool. The new range of plastics that they've done are just incredible. I also managed to I got a set of the Arcoflagellants and the Repentia because I wanted to have some options of the kill team because of course once I decided I had a kill team I wanted to have options for my kill team because that's just the way my brain goes. So I do have those, so that I guess I've got like the start of a very small Sisters force. I also have the one HQ that I got from the event. What was it, from Nova last year when I got into the preview and they gave out the models there. So I do have an HQ and I do have the one troop squad so far. So we'll see if I get into it. They look awesome. They seem super fun, and I've fought against them and they're really cool. They're really cool, and the plastic models look fantastic. So my friend Todd, who I think is watching this because he has commented a couple times, he has a beautiful army of Sisters, and he has a lot of the older metal Sisters, which is really cool. And they're super fun. They're super fun to play with. So that would be something to possibly think about. I think if I'm gonna expand next, it might be AdMech and then maybe Sisters, but who knows? Maybe both. If I can keep myself going with them. So we'll see how they go. Twigbeard, if you're getting into AdMech, recommend you wait until they have a real happy place to take on Assembly and Variation Dragoons Bloodstari. I've heard that they are difficult to keep the brain wanting to build those. They look super fiddly, so I think I might hold them off for a bit. Maybe I'll go with the flame horse dog creature things. If I need some fast moving AdMech stuff, I'll go with those instead and see if they build any easier, faster, or better. But I appreciate the heads up on that. So maybe those will wait to be added into my force there. Yeah. Oh man, I could imagine building and painting 12 of them. No, thank you. I'm okay without that. Silent Hill, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. Saber, yeah, time to buy the cool centerpiece models. Yep, I could definitely see that. Oh, the heavy construct, it looks awesome. There was guy Mike that he actually runs the Savannah River Brewing, or owns Savannah River Brewery. And that was the place where I've gone to a couple of tournaments there. He has one of those, and it looks super cool, just like this big giant like marching like spider thing, just like beautiful. I think it looks awesome. So I do recommend that as well for your centerpiece for that, because they would look rad, just kind of like the metal skeletons just kind of like trudging along underneath them. Super cool visual stuff that goes on your brain. I think it looks awesome. El Kukui? Kukui? Do you think Space Marine will be on top 6? Do you think Space Wolves will be a top 6 Space Marine army now? I think they can be. I think that the rules that they got in the Saga of the Beast were super cool, and I think there's ways to make things be super effective. I think that they're definitely gonna be. I mean, I think they're going to be competitive. I don't know if they're going to be like winning LVO successful, but I do think that they're going to be competitive. And I think that the changes that were made to Doctrines don't affect them as much. Same thing as like with Blood Angels. I think when the Doctrines changed, they didn't really feel as affected by it. So I think the fact that they weren't affected by that change as much helps them bump up in the Space Marine hierarchy. And I think that what they got added to them with the book also helps bump them up in the space in the hierarchy. So I could see them doing well. I could see them doing being very effective, especially against Marines, because a lot of what they have going for them is super good. I think that what they have going for them is super effective, and I think that going up against Marines, I think they can do well because they've got the shooting to handle, and they also got the close combat stuff that I think a lot of Space Marines would struggle with. So, but yeah, I do think that they're going to do well with everything they got. Thank you, Skies of Bethana. I appreciate it. I'm trying to hang tight, and I hope that with these videos and stuff like that, it helps other people hang tight too. So we'll do it together. We'll get through this together, and then come out the other side and figure out where we go from there. But I'm sure it will involve a lot of gaming. So, Sam Little, yeah, putting the pension, they look super cool. I mean, just like, sisters with giant chainswords are just awesome. They're just awesome, and the new models look rad, look super rad. I think they did a fantastic job with that whole plastic line, and the Repentia included. I think they did some really awesome things there. So I do think they're awesome. I think they're going to be a super cool, and they're really good on the table too. I know that they're kind of made out of like wet tissue paper, but when they hit like a freaking sledgehammer. It's awesome. It's awesome to see what they can do. So, yeah, just to send a legitimate question to Wound Space Marines on 1 or 2 Zoom or back from. Oh, not being doing the transhuman physiology. Joseph, you talk about that with the transhuman physiology, or it's like 1, 2, or 3 even. I think it's 4+ that you can only wound on. I think it's. I mean, it's very strong. It's very strong. But the fact is, you can only use it on one unit, and I guess there are certain situations when it becomes even more brutal than others. I don't think it's overpowered necessarily, but I think it's super effective and powerful. And I can understand being frustrated with it, especially if you just like unleash your big strong shooting into it, and all of a sudden it's like I should be wounding them on 2s, and now I'm wounding them on 4s, and it's like frustrating. It can be frustrating because I've been on the other end of that, but I don't think it's overpowered. I think it costs, what is it, 2 CP or something like that. And with an elite army, I know you can build up a bunch of CP with Marines now with the min squads and stuff like that. I think it's pretty good. Todd's still here. Good. And you've been good. You haven't trolled me as much. So I threw out a compliment to you and your sisters over there. A lot of fun to always play with. So yeah. So there you go. You didn't troll me, and I gave you a compliment. So win-win for everybody. Yeah, same little playing. I think they're fun. I think they're cool, and they look beautiful. So I'm glad you've been playing it for a long time. I have another friend, Marcus, who also plays Sisters. He's had them for a long time too, and I know that the old school Sisters players that this has been a fantastic thing to update them and now have a codex going with them and have a lot of new models and new units that they get to utilize. I know it's been pretty fantastic, and they look fantastic. So being able to add that into your forces, I'm sure, has been super cool. Volzin, keep going back and forth about it, if I should sign up for Patreon or the Tabletop Minions one. Thanks, I appreciate that. Over Uncle Adam. Uncle Adam's a fantastic guy, so I wouldn't be too insulted if you chose him over me. But I am very glad you did choose me over him. For more personal, selfish reasons there than than that. But yeah, thank you very much. I really do appreciate the support on Patreon. It does help a lot, and it is super. It makes me feel good. It's a little bit of a it just shows that people appreciate it, because it's. I know you're spending your hard-earned money to help me, and I appreciate that. So, I very much appreciate that support, and I'm glad you. I'm definitely not required, but certainly appreciated that you did that. So, thank you very much for that support. Um, what's the worst model I've ever attempted to build? From White Wolf there. I'm okay with most things in plastic, but found the zombie dragon kit Infuriate model to put together. I ended up dropping Undead as an army. Yeah, the one that threw me off, like that just drove me nuts. The hardest model to ever put together was the old metal land speeder from I think second edition. The thing was about five chunks, like metal chunks that all had to clip together. So you couldn't just like build it like one like piece at a time. They all kind of like had to fit in together at the same time and like click in. So you kind of had to like slather them all in super glue because it's metal, and you push them all together and you hold them there and you hope that they set, and then when you think they set, you pull your hand away and you've got a different piece stuck to every finger. It was like 3 or 4 attempts before I finally managed to get them to stick together and not stick to my hands. And I think the model still probably underneath the paint contains a bunch of my skin cells. You might be able to find future archaeologists might find DNA from that if they look it up to find back the Glacial Geek DNA on that model. Oh man, that thing drove me batty trying to put that together. Oh man, really frustrating. But that I'm glad they've moved on to plastic. Plastic kits have been. I've been usually okay. There's some that are more fiddly than others. And there are some that also are easier to paint once you've built than others. That's been mine trying to figure it out there. So it's been easy enough there. But yeah, was referring to the stalwart chapter tactic. Oh, is there? I didn't. Oh, is there a chapter tactic that you can't wound Marines on a one? Can't wound them on a two. I mean, I don't think it's overpowered. I think that there's a lot of other things that I mean. There's a reason it's not it's not like the go-to choice for a lot of these chapter tactics is because there's other ones that are really good too that are super effective. And I don't think that wounding on a two is nice, but I think most people are wounding Marines on threes anyway. Because until you get to strength 8, there are a fair number of weapons, but they're usually pretty sparse. That you're going to find them, and they're usually aimed at things other than actual just marine bodies when you're shooting there. I don't think that ones or twos is. I don't think that's overpowered at all. Like I said, I think that it's it is what it is. But I think there's other ones like adding an extra 3 inches to your range suddenly makes your 11-inch flamers. I think that's stronger. I think that having the -1 to hit tactic that they are not -1 to hit one that they have, or always getting cover. Those are really good ones too. I think there's some really ones to make some really cool chapter tactics. None of them I think are overpowered. I think a lot of them are very effective, and that's kind of where I kind of draw the line. Overpowered I think are things that just make it unfun to play against. I think a lot of the Iron Hand stuff that was unfun to play against got fixed. I think they're still very good, and I think that they should be able to be very good. But I think that I think that they've toned it down to a point now where they're just good as opposed to broken. And I think that chapter tactic doesn't seem broken. I think it seems pretty good. It's definitely something to think about to take, but definitely not broken. Because like I said, most weapons in the game are going to be wounding your guys on threes anyway, not looking for twos to wound. So there are certain situations where it will happen, but at the same time, you're taking out 1/16, I guess, of the wounds at that point. So I don't know. It is what it is, but I don't think it's overpowered. I don't think you have to worry about that. I think what I've seen most people call overpowered is what they've lost to. Is what ends up happening is that they say, "Oh, this army is overpowered." I've literally seen in 8th edition every single army declared overpowered by somebody. It doesn't matter who it was or what army it was. So I've seen them all declared overpowered. And the fact that all of them are declared overpowered means that probably none of them are overpowered. I think that when someone loses a game, loses really bad, or that there's an army out there that counters what you're trying to do very well, people think of them as overpowered when in fact they're just probably good, and they're probably the rock to your scissors in the game that you run up against. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think it's pretty fine. So that's my opinion, but it's not gospel. Obviously, it's just one YouTuber's thoughts. um, yeah, Sam Little. Yeah, I'm glad you like seeing those Systems Battle and battle reports. Hopefully, now you'll see some of my Kill Team battle reports. Now that I've got some of those, and I think that going forward, I know that I'll try to get some more of them in there because I think they look super cool and I think they're fun and I think they're beautiful, beautiful army. I think they're a super cool army to see on the table too. I like seeing all the stuff that they have, all the armies, all the vehicles that they have, all the troops that they have, and they play fun too. You know what I mean? I know they've got the same saves as Marines plus like those that inbuilt invulnerable save, and the fact that they have a pretty strong counter to a lot of Marines that essentially ignores a lot of their AP, especially with doctrines giving them extra AP. The fact that they can very easily ignore AP -2 makes them a very fun counter to Marines and throws a wrench in the gears of a lot of things. Like I've had a hard time fighting against them because of that, and it makes it interesting and very tactical trying to figure out what you can do. I was playing a game against my friend Todd, and we were doing on Tabletop Simulator, and I just dumped. I mean, I digital dice roll about as well for me as my regular dice, but at the same time, I dumped like a whole ton of shots into a sister squad trying to take them out, and it was just like nothing happening. They were just going down hard. So to see that kind of happen makes it's fun. You know, I play when this stuff isn't happening. I play enough games that losing a game to me is fine. It happens probably more often than I win. But they're just games. They're fun to play, and when you see something like that that has like a fun counter but isn't ridiculous and isn't unhandleable, it's fun to be able to run into that and try to figure out what you could have done differently or what you need to do differently to try to get the victory. So yeah, I think sisters are fun, and I'll hopefully have more of them once things get back to normal or back to whatever new normal that we face. Terrible Miniatures. Hey Phil, just wondering if you have any tips for molding and shaping green stuff. Making some hoods over the helmets of the Space Marines. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Yes, make sure that your fingers and any tools that you're using are wet. So dip them in water. They don't have to be like drenched, like you don't have to pour water over it. But just make sure that they're wet. Otherwise, that's going to be sticking to your hand, and it's going to be tough to work with. If you're doing hoods and you're doing like capes and robes and stuff like that, try to get it thin because the first capes that I did were a little bit too thick, and you could tell that they were too thick. And having it thin really helps to make it. And then just pay attention to how fabric sits. So what you could do is, if you're trying to do hoods, get a hoodie and get a picture with a hoodie up, or ask someone to wear a hoodie and just get a picture, or look online. I'm sure there's thousands of hoods online, and just see how the hood kind of sits on someone's head, because GW do a great job of making sure that hoods sit the way they do. So you can see on this is the Eldar model from the Blackstone Fortress. The way they've molded the hood is really kind of cool. The way it sits on the head and kind of goes out to the shoulders, because most hoods they don't just like wrap around your head. They kind of have some body to them, and they have some space to them, and they kind of flop down a bit. So look to that to see how they lay, and then just make sure that your fingers and the tools that you're working with are at least wet. I don't want to say the M word because I know it annoys some people, but moist. Make sure that they're wet. Just dip them in some water when you're working with them, and it'll help you keep it from sticking and stuff. So same thing with the surface that you're working on too. Make sure that's got just rub some water on it, and it'll help to keep it from, like I said, from sticking as much, because that's what I faced when I first tried to do it. And I was like, why is this sticking to everything? I can't get anything to do here. It's just all sticking. So yeah, but it's good. It's I think that's the best little bit of advice that I can give you from my little bit of experience with it. Just essential. Thank you for answering my questions, Phil. My Emerald Knights custom chapter of Tactical Marines need to get done. Keep being awesome, and hope to catch another stream. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this was fun. I really liked it. I had more people. I'm glad more people showed up than I expected. I always I always used to joke that my that all of my subscribers. I used to joke when I first started. I was like, I expected to have two subscribers, myself and my mom. And then as I started getting more, I was like, I didn't know my mom had this many email addresses. And then just a couple months ago, I was talking with my mom and my folks, and I was like, yeah, whatever, with the subscribers and everything. And my mom goes, how do you subscribe on YouTube? And I was like, I'm sorry, are you not subscribed to my channel? And it turns out, no, my mom was not subscribed to my channel. So I had that whole joke, but I was thinking, I thought it would be funny. I was kind of expecting just my mom, or maybe my dad. My dad actually subscribes, and he watches all my videos. He's like, I don't understand all of them, but I do watch them. I have them playing at least. So I kind of expected just to have, my dad in here. And actually, my mother-in-law was in the chat earlier, so I know that she watches, and she's actually a Patreon too. So, but yeah, it's funny. I'm glad that everyone did come out and see this. I'm hopefully going to do some more of these because these were fun. And I did about as much painting as I do in my actual Deep Thoughts theme code. So, wanted to keep that going. So, Northern Queen Alexis, hey, how's it going? I am staying healthy. I hope you are as well. Trying to keep pushing through. Go check out her channel as well. It's a fantastic channel. She also does work with the Gene Stealer cult. So especially if you like Gene Stealer cult, go check out her stuff. Very much enjoy that. So it's some very good stuff. But yeah, trying to keep this going. Now, hopefully I'll do some more live streams like this. I think this was fun, and it was something a little bit different. It didn't quite enthuse me to paint as much as I thought it might, but then again, that always happens. Once I start talking, I just start talking and ignoring everything else. So, but yeah, I think that I am. That's pretty much what I got going on right now. So we were on here for an hour, so that's perfect. It was for an hour. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. I certainly have. If you, I will try to do these. Maybe I'll try to do this like a weekly thing, and we'll keep doing this because this was fun. And we'll, if you want to jump on it and say hi, I really appreciate it, and any support that you guys have been giving me, saying hi and telling me all these things. Hashtag Gene Team. I like that. All the support is super appreciated, and we just gotta work together. We'll get through this all, and we'll get back to it. So we'll keep doing this. So, but yeah, appreciate all the support, and I hope you guys are all being safe out there, all getting through this, and I hope you're all having at least a little bit of fun in any of this. So I know I certainly am trying. And until next time, have fun. End stream.